Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the FearFans podcast. I'm your host, Don Elmy, and with me is Nick. And so,
Okay, look who just showed
and
up. Hey,
joining, and
what's up,
joining us
Nick?
is
Hey.
Nikki.
Made it just in time.
Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, just
Uh,
I just saw Final Destination. I'm sorry, what?
oh no, I was just I've been doing pretty good myself. Obviously, as you guys seen, I just came back from Paris, like from a trip to Ohio from Mansfield Reformatory. Go to Paris Icon. It was a really good time.
Hey, Thomas.
That one. Sorry.
Hey, we're doing great,
Hey,
Santi.
Joe.
Hey, Joe. Yeah, hopefully
Hey,
he'll be
Joe.
joining us
Hope
soon.
you're well.
So, with the new Final Destination Bloodlines coming out, I felt like it was time for us to jump back into covering some more Final Destination movies. So, Destination 2, released in 2003.
Yep.
Mhm.
Santi, I'm not sure what's so cool about my shirt. It's just like a typical T-shirt I'm wearing. He says that mine. It looks. Check out Nick's shirt. Now, what I see is being. I never really thought of it as real cool. It's just a long sleeve T-shirt.
Take the compliment, Nick.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, so this was released 3 years after the first film, takes place a year after the events of the first film. And with the first movie being a huge box office hit, New Line Cinema immediately greenlit a sequel. And so apparently the opening disaster that they have, like that the survivors, like apparently it was actually based on a real life, highway disaster. Um,
Really?
yeah, I just looked into
Wow.
this. Yeah, apparently like it was based on like this pileup from it was like a 125 car pileup that was in let's see, Georgia or Riggle, Georgia, in
Yeah,
March of 2002. Yeah, March of 2002, where 4 people were killed and 39 were injured.
yeah, that's never heard about that accident before.
Yeah,
That's so.
with all the disasters that Final Destination franchise has, I was like trying to look into seeing if they were actually inspired by real events, and and I was surprised to learn that many of them are.
Well, the closest thing I could really relate to Final Destination, and I'm really surprised that no one's ever made this connection. But to be perfectly honest with you, the closest real life inspiration, I mean, like similarity to Final Destination, I would definitely have to connect that, in fact, more or less with the Mothman, because with the Mothman, not necessarily premonitions, but that is usually seen as kind of like a forerunner of death. You know, people who see this creature and couple weeks or couple months or every now and then, even like a year or so, some horrific disaster occurs. Like just it's supposed to be like a forerunner. We don't know exactly what it is. People have said it's a forerunner of death or sign of impending doom or a dark angel of some sort or even a grim reaper itself. We don't know so now kind of comparing between Final Destination, the disasters that have been associated with the Mothman, there's kind of a similarity between the two.
Yeah, I could kind of see that.
Because like I'll just throw out an example. I mean, everybody knows like when Mothman was seen in Point Pleasant, West Virginia back in the 60s, where then a year, yeah, a harbinger, that's right, Robert. Where sightings went until 1967, until December of 1967 when the Silver Bridge collapsed and 46 people lost their lives. And another event I can compare it to, which was also another bridge collapse, was ironically enough 40 years after that event in July of 2007. A Minnesota woman claimed to have seen a Mothman-like creature about a month before the I-35 bridge collapse, which killed 13 people. So there's kind of I wonder if they took some inspiration from the Mothman disasters to make Final Destination. Uh, yeah. Uh, yeah, I don't know about Dan Aykroyd, but I definitely believe in it because I've also, not to mention, I've been to Point Pleasant, West Virginia. I've seen the statue. I've been to the festival. Really great town, but you never forget that
Hey,
story.
Braxton.
Hey, Brax.
Yep. And yeah, I mean, there was a bridge collapse in. We lost Nikki.
No, she's coming back. She's coming back. She was using her. She's switched her.
Sorry.
That's
All
fine. What were you saying, Don?
I was saying, well, there was a bridge collapse in Final Destination 5. So
Wow.
So it could be based off it. You never know.
could be. You know, like I was just shocked to learn that a majority of them of these deaths and these disasters, these freak accidents that occur throughout the whole franchise,
Yeah.
that they were based on like reality. But again, so there are even horror films. There's art that can imitate life.
Well, in fact, actually, no. This is something we should cover eventually for a future episode of FearFans. I mean, not necessarily a horror movie, although it still has its horror elements. It's kind of more of a thriller than a horror film. Maybe one of these days we could try to cover the Mothman Prophecies movies, because when you really think about it, there is
The one
kind
with
of
Richard Gere. Oh wait,
Richard. Yep, that's correct. Richard Gere in it, and there is.
I'm out of sync. It says.
You're out of sync.
Yeah.
Me.
You know, you look
Probably
like
not.
you're out of sync, John.
Yeah, according to Billy, he says I'm out of sync.
Here, let me check on.
He must be
I'll
hearing
check
like
on-
the. Here, he must be hearing
Oh,
feedback
wow,
from
that's
Nikki.
close.
What was that?
No,
I think
you've got to love technology when it wants to work, don't you?
Yeah,
know.
I think Billy's picking up man like Nikki's feedback or something.
Well, now Billy said that you were for a second, so you're probably back in sync.
Okay, all right, whatever. Let's just.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, like I said, though, yeah, the one with Richard Gere in it, that should be something if you really look at those two movies, even that one kind of has like a Final Destination vibe to it, because it did come out and they had that premonition too in that movie involving the bridge collapse in that movie. I think they said like 40, like I think it was like someone said that 40 or 50 people will die, when these sightings come. It's been a while since I've seen the movie, but very similar film to Final Destination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I may consider that down the road. Yeah.
And,
Speaking of upcoming, I ran a poll for which movie that we'll be covering next week, and right as last time I checked, it is tied between Ginger Snaps and Cloverfield. So I'm going to give that poll another 24 hours before I make a final decision.
Yeah.
Since you're broadcasting on my personal page, I'm going to be keeping an eye on the chat here, because that's not going to show up here on the wall. Michael Bloomfield, thank you very much. He shared this to his page, American Ghost Stories. Always appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
I usually watch Final Destination 2 in my dad's truck. There was a DVD player in the ceiling. Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know. Yeah. I remember when lots of cars from back in those days, like would have like flip down monitors, and I mean, I'm sure a few of them still do, but
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I'm sure they still do, but these ones were like DVD player monitors. So I
I
remember.
used
I
that.
remember. And you know what it did? My grandpa used to have like this 2006 Cadillac SRX that had TV monitors behind the headsets, behind what was it? Behind the head of the seats. Right?
Yeah, the seat.
Back monitors there. I plugged in my Xbox there before.
We used to have one of those other DVD players. I don't even think anybody uses these anymore either. Where I used to have it was my brother's, but he got to let me borrow it a lot. Where we used to have one of those DVD players that kind of resemble like that of a laptop that you just open up and you watch the film that way. So that's what we used to use whenever we wanted to watch something.
Yeah. And like I said, I hooked up my Xbox onto that thing and in his car just to see if it would work, and it did.
I can remember
I was able to play Halo 3.
I can remember one other memory of like watching movies or like whatever in the car. And my dad used to do this. We had one of those old-fashioned this was before the DVD players. We used to have one of those old-fashioned TVs, like one of those small ones like you'd see in the kitchen, like back in the day, like from the late 80s or early 90s. And my dad would flip over one of the seats so it could act as a table, put the TV there, have it somehow plugged in, and we would have either like a movie playing or somehow we actually would have our N64 plugged in. So we were actually able to play games from the car itself.
Nice. Okay, so we kind of drifted off topic there.
Yeah,
But
well,
anyway,
just
so
going through a trip through memory lane.
okay, so yeah, the movie had a different director this time because James Wong, who directed the original, he was having scheduling conflicts because he was directing the Jet Li movie. What was it? The One.
The one, yeah.
That's what it was. And so he wasn't able to return to the franchise until Final Destination 3. And then after that, he directed the ungodly abomination that is Dragon Ball Evolution.
Oh God, he did that one.
Yes.
Oh God, what the hell was he thinking?
People have been asking that for over about 15 years now.
I'm sure something tells me that to this day he probably regrets that he directed that movie.
I believe so. But so instead, this was actually directed by David R. Ellis, who would also direct the Final Destination, the fourth film in the franchise. And let's see, he also directed Snakes on a Plane. Let's see, Cellular, and Shark Night. Yeah, that was his worst film.
Jeez. Shark Night, is that the one that was from 2011?
Yes.
Oh, Shark Night 3D. I remember that one. Yep.
Never seen it.
Yeah, it was. Long story short, it was because they've been doing this almost every year when Shark Week comes on. That they always try to make a shark movie in association with Shark Week, and Shark Night in that case for 2011 Shark Week, it was Shark Night 3D, but it looked like it was good, like from the commercials, but I heard it was actually really bad.
It is.
So
it is bad.
The director who did this movie ended up doing that movie too.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt Matt Grant from Matt TV from Halifax, Canada is watching. Good to see you, Matt.
Nice.
Hey, Matt. Nice to meet you.
Yes, Ali Letter and Tony Todd were the only returning characters from the first movie. Yeah, lots of people say.
Very Tony Todd.
I mean, even though Bloodworth wasn't featured in all the Final Destination films, he did. Like Tony Todd had involvement in Final Destination 3, but none in the Final Destination, the fourth one. Because I don't know if you know this, but in the third one, in the opening scene where they go on that roller coaster, that animatronic devil,
Yeah,
Tony Todd did the voice of it.
that's correct.
Mm-hmm. Don Binley has a comment.
Sitting Ducks. Is that a new viewer, Don?
Sitting Ducks? No. Sitting Ducks. Hey, how's it going, Sitting Ducks? No, he's been on here before. Which one?
Which one? Seen him very frequently.
Which one was the worst that pissed you off more? Dragon Ball Evolution? Definitely Dragon Ball Evolution. I was more of a fan of Dragon Ball than I was of Avatar growing up. But
I never watched Avatar.
Yeah, one movie that upset me even more was a film. Yeah, one film that upset me even more than that was let's see. Oh yeah, John Cherry, who played Rory in Final Destination 2, was in this one. A movie that came out the exact same year as this, and that's House of the Dead.
Oh, House of the Dead. I've heard of that movie, but I never seen it.
Yeah,
Seen it.
I'm actually considering. As much as I hate that movie, am considering covering it on here, like during sometime this summer, just as a because you guys always see me like watching movies or covering movies on here that I like or are just okay, but I don't think I've ever really had a time where I've actually covered a really bad movie, and so I decided to make House of Dead that one. And also, of course, I'm going to have a watch party for all members of FearFans, and because if I'm going to endure House of the Dead one last time for this, I'm taking all of you with me.
I was going to say
it was bad.
Long time. It's been quite a long time
bad.
on a watch party. Honestly, I mean, what is it? Almost a year now, I think.
No, we had a watch party when we covered one of the Christmas movies.
Well, yeah, we did, but we did that about almost. I think we did that in Christmas of 2023. I don't remember doing anything.
We covered it in 2024.
Yeah, so it's been over a year since we've done a watch party.
No, it's actually been just less than 6 months.
I don't know. I think it just feels longer.
Yeah, this year's gone quick.
I do know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was ridiculous how they just added movie scenes, but yeah, we'll get to that.
There is also,
but we'll get to that.
And Don, at some point too, since you brought that up, I definitely would like to talk more about the watch parties because there is actually something else I would like to show you. Not necessarily that it would have to be covered with FearFans, but it would be something I'd like to show you guys sometime down the road during the summer. In fact, it would probably be sometime during the month of July. And it's, if anything, I mean, it's more of a documentary, but it's not just like typical documentary though. It's also real life too. It's representing a historic event.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned this before, but yeah, we'll
yeah, I did a while back. I'll remind you later on.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But Billy, yeah, both of those are bad too because they have the same director, Uwe Boll. Don't even get me started on him. Anyway, so yeah, so the whole premise of this is that Kimberly, played by AJ Cook, who I absolutely love her, that actress. She was in she plays JJ in Criminal Minds. That show is awesome.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, seriously, Nick. If anybody likes crime shows, Criminal Minds is a great one, and AJ Cook is amazing in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, in this, she plays a college girl named Kimberly who is about to go to Daytona Beach with her friends. And then when they're about to get on the highway, she has a premonition of seriously, that premonition showed a frighteningly realistic take on pileup. Like, seriously.
Mhm.
I also researched those logs that fall off and spark the whole pileup. When they fall off the truck, they weren't real. They actually did try to use real logs falling off, but they weren't bouncing. They were just rolling away. So they had to use CGI to create bouncing logs.
Oh my God, I got it. Since you brought that, okay, that just kind of chilled me for a second because I'm going to be honest with you. You brought up about the logs.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you remember, obviously, since you said you saw Bloodlines, you remember that truck that had all those logs in them, right?
Yeah, they did. I believe there was definitely an homage to this.
Well, get this. This is probably gonna freak both of you guys out since you just mentioned that. So when I was on my way to Ohio, as we were driving through Indiana, we're trying to get there we're on a tight schedule. We're trying to get there.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, we end up at the back of a truck, and it turned out the truck had logs in it. Big logs, just like what you see in Final Destination. I took a picture of it because I saw it with Rochelle. I sent it to her. I'm like, uh-oh, Rochelle, you see what I see here? And I'm like,
oh my God.
I think death's coming for me. It was so, you can't call that coincidence. It was so weird that what I saw in a movie, I was now seeing the real thing. I just thought it's only a matter of time before one of those straps just snaps off and and that just comes right, because again, we were literally at the back of the truck, when that happened. I was like, I'm not going to lie. I was kind of freaking out a little bit because I didn't know if those were going to stay on for long enough. So, but death, who knows? Maybe I cheated death.
Never know. Yeah.
I know I did 2 months ago. Yeah, when that street lamp almost hit me, I was standing 2 feet from it.
Shit.
Yeah.
Well, I almost did 2 years ago because you remember, again, it seems like almost every time we go to Ohio, something happens. I told you guys too that we got side hit by 10-wheeler semi truck. That
that one. Yes.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah, that happened now nearly a year ago. We were close to the reformatory, the OSR, Ohio State Reformatory. We were just on the highway, and yes, there was a lot of traffic going on, but there was for those that don't know, there was a truck that got real close to us. I was riding with Tom McNicholas, and there was no way for us to get out because on the opposite side of the highway was traffic cones because there was construction going on. There was no way for us to go, and the truck, those wheels were coming. I knew I was going to get hit first before Tom because it was occurring on my side. And once I knew exactly what was about to happen, I'm not joking, I literally just threw myself, grabbed onto Tom, and just braced for impact because I thought to myself, like, this is going to seriously hurt or I'm literally going to die. Thank God that it only hit the side part of the door. It knocked the rear view mirror off, but Man, I'll tell
Yeah,
you right now, that scared the hell out of me because that I could have been crushed to death. That
yeah,
would have, and
Yeah.
like I said, semi truck, one of those big ones, like they make deliveries with at warehouses. So
Yeah.
we're talking a big truck. And I really believe to this day that I cheated death as a result. I'm even more surprised I was not injured from that.
Yeah.
really.
Very lucky.
I
It
know.
was it
Someone's definitely
was
watching you.
Yeah,
first
I
time
mean,
I've ever been involved in any type of car accident. Scared the hell out of me, and
yeah,
hopefully I
Yeah.
never
I've
have to
been
go
in
through
five,
something like
bro.
that again.
no, yeah, but yeah, that premonition in this, like, is but looks it has like it's just shocking how realistic it is. Like, it's just about as bad as a car pileup could possibly get. Like, first, like flies off and like goes right into the cop car, killing the. Oh my god, yeah, like it just kills like Alandis's character, like, and you can see like a
Mm-hmm.
blood coming out the other side, like chunks, and then let's see, Rory's car
Mm-hmm.
getting hit by that truck. Let's see. Oh, what disturbed me the most? One of the moments that just I think what disturbed me the most in that premonition was where Evan, that lottery winner, and like
Yeah,
in blonde
Yeah.
hair. Yeah, he was like stuck inside of his inside of his sports car. Like all those gnarly burn effects. Like
Yeah.
there's that was gruesome. Yeah, and I like how the logs there in that scene was the only thing that was CGI. Everything else was completely practical. Real cars,
Oh,
real the
wow.
stunt drivers.
yeah.
Yeah,
And that's why I kind of compare again, again with this accident that I
Yeah.
experienced. To me, it really, I mean, even though I had no premonition in this case, to me, it really did look like a scene out of Final Destination, no doubt.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show that what you see in that movie is pretty realistic because
And it can
it just
happen. Yeah.
goes to show no matter who or what you are, it can happen to anybody, and you could just die like that within a matter of
Mm-hmm.
minutes.
you could.
Yeah. I've missed death a few times. So car
Yeah,
accidents. So
and like yeah, I mean, out of all the premonitions that you see in Final Destination, like I said, this pileup was definitely one of the more realistic ones. And
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
so after she has the premonition, like she sees all those things that were leading up to them getting on the highway and then experiencing the crash. So she puts a stop to it by blocking the exit lane that goes onto the highway, and saving all those lives. But then what I found kind of weird though about this movie compared to the first, so after the plane explosion, like that Alex had a premonition about. Like everything seems for like all the survivors are just fine for a month, right?
yeah,
Death doesn't start. Death doesn't start doing his work coming after them for about a month, and so, but starting with Todd, killing him with that in that bathtub. But then in this movie, the death seems to like us to just get started right away on going after the survivors, starting with Kimberly's friends. Kimberly just died. Just like Burke just saved Kimberly from being hit by the truck that ran into her car, killing all of her friends inside. And then that's later that same day when Evan got home with all of his stuff. He was like splurging, because he just won the
Yeah.
lottery, $250,000.
yeah.
But anyway, Death was coming in for him that same day. So I'm like, okay, why did so Death waited a month to go after the survivors in the first movie, but then immediately got started in this? I'm like, so what was there like some sort of does Death have like a schedule? Did it have like a scheduling conflict with the characters in the first movie, but had some time to go after everybody in this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting of
You
how
know?
really how death really took his time to
Yeah.
just
Mm.
plan things carefully so he can make his next move on everybody.
Yeah, but I mean that's what I'm saying. Like it seems like he took his time in the first movie, but in this one he just wanted to go at them right away.
Probably
Yeah.
just
It's
speed
like
up
what happened in the first movie that he couldn't?
yeah.
Yeah, what happened
He
in the
was
first?
probably just
Yeah, what
trying to
happened in the?
speed. Sorry, you're freezing up a little bit, Don.
I am.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Just a
I don't know.
little bit.
Yeah, on you a few times do freeze up, but just for like a split second.
You
So
do too.
it's not that I'm trying to cut you off. It's just the freezing moments.
Okay. Well, let's see. Like in the first movie, why did Death just wait for like a whole month to go after the survivors? Was he like I'm thinking, did he have like scheduling conflicts? Let's see. He's like, let's see. Let's see. I want to go after the survivors of Flight 180, but there's an even urgent disaster happening on the other side of the world. A giant tsunami wiped out was supposed to wipe out all those people. I got to go after them. So the Flight 180 survivors have to wait for a month.
You
Like, what is
know,
going on?
the way how you just described that, Don, I couldn't help but think of Death from Family Guy. You imagine if Death really was like that? Yeah, that's just,
Oh my god!
I'm really surprised that to this day, I'm really surprised Family Guy has not brought Death back into this. Like, come on, bring Death back.
They should. They should. Imagine if it's Death from Bill and Ted.
Yeah, Bill and Ted. And there was also Death made made an appearance on one of the early episodes of South Park. Of course, obviously he was after Kenny. He made those cow like those moo sounds when he was like so mad. I'm doing good, Thomas. How are you?
Hey,
Hey
Thomas.
Irene. Hey Irene. Irene's watching from the personal
Even
chat.
too, he became rich and was still. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like Evan was like a little sloppy at home. He left like a bowl of pot, like a thing of pasta, like a thing of spaghetti on the table, like and then tossed it out the window. I'm just like,
You know,
evidently he's never heard of a trash can.
all this talk that you were mentioning too about like the car pile up, in Final Destination and Final Destination 2. To be perfectly honest with you, Don, and you correct me if you heard. Well, I wasn't here when this happened, but I'm really surprised we didn't have something similar like that occur a few days ago out in the highways of Chicago. Because for those of you that didn't know, for the first time in nearly over 90 years, we had a dust storm that affected Chicago. Yeah, were you there for that, Don?
Yes, I was, and yeah.
Well,
I was upset by that because I was like, man, I just washed my car.
So, did you actually see the dust storm itself, or?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did, and was completely making a mess out of my car.
See, again, because I was out in Ohio, I wasn't there to witness it. I'm honestly surprised it didn't make its way all the way out to Mansfield for us to experience it ourselves. It was the first time in over 90 years, and as we all know, when it comes to sand and dust storms, they're known to cause accidents like that on highways, causing car pileups like that. So again, I'm really surprised we didn't see kind of a realistic Final Destination moment out in the Chicago highways.
Yeah, everybody just took cover, I guess.
Or just took cover or tried to outrun it or just stayed a safe distance. But first dust storm we've had, which is extremely rare. First one we've had since the Dust Bowl era, since 1934. That first time we've had a dust storm.
I'm going to Google when we had a dust storm last because I don't think
I was going to say, you guys get dust storms too, right, Nikki?
More up in the Kimberly inland, but not in Perth that I know of. I'll Google and let you know.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. But I wanted to talk about Evan's death. That's what they started off with after that whole highway mess. So, yeah, Evan, who I should mention, he was played by David Pateco, who I've actually seen. Believe it or not, I have seen him in other movies, such as let's see, mainly just bad movies like Alien vs Predator, Requiem, and also I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. I hate that movie so much.
What's that?
2009.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, Evan was there were a lot of clues to how when Evan was being killed, but I'll get to that in a sec. So Evan is bringing up all of his luxuries he's been getting ever since he won $250,000 from the lottery, and so he kept getting let's see, where should I start? So he buys a iMac, an iMac computer. I remember when they used to look like that.
Yeah, I remember those too.
early 2000s. But so he goes to throw some. Yeah, some food in the microwave, and also try to air fry mozzarella sticks on the pan. I'm not sure that that's actually how you cook mozzarella sticks. But then a magnet falls inside of the food that he put in the microwave. But when he sees it's sparking, it freaks him out. And then his rain falls into the sink. but he decides to go after his ring instead of dealing with a potential fire hazard. I mean, seriously, if I saw my microwave sparking, I would have done something immediately. That's more important to me than taking care of a ring. I mean, I know rings have like certain value to you. I know because I wear two of them.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But at the same time, I would not be like a ring going inside of a garbage disposal. I would want to deal with microwave sparking and also the mozzarella sticks that were having a grease fire on the countertop. Like I feel like Evan's death could have been could have been preventable if he actually used his head.
See, it goes, and I said this before when we talked about the first one. That's why I think some of the deaths like could have been prevented, and there was just some like there's like just some really crazy ones out there that kind of look ridiculous, but at the same time, like I understand the scenario. But I said this before. There are moments where the Final Destination franchise, it's almost kind of like in a less harmless degree because it's the best way. It's kind of like a Looney Tunes cartoon, but really violent at times with some of the crazy things that happen, including into the sequels.
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah,
I mean, I can't talk about the microwave for the chicken, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but so like Death Guy, like he's always creating these Rube Goldberg like kind of mechanisms.
Sorry.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Yeah, she said she's good. She gave the thumbs up.
All right,
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't see it. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, like I said, Death always tries to create these Rube Goldberg kind of like mechanisms to kill people with using everything that's around them. See, that's what Final Destination franchise wants you to be paranoid about. Literally everything around you.
Yeah, exactly, because anything around you could kill you in a matter of seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
You could choke on a piece of rice, which I was just doing. Oh, God.
Hey, get a glass of water if you need to. I couldn't hear you.
I think she muted her mic.
I was about to say, if you need to, run and get yourself some
need some water.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Okay.
You said you were good a second ago. I'm just like, you sure?
No, yeah, I'm fine.
All right. We all saw in Final Destination the Grim Reaper doesn't give one good damn at all. No, he does not. He
No.
he pretty much is willing to kill anybody. I mean, even when they showed in the first Final Destination that plane, there was a handicapped guy. There was also a baby on the plane, but yeah, Death was still going to cause that disaster anyway. Yeah.
Death shows no mercy to anyone.
No, not even to a 15-year-old kid in this film. You know, Tim Carpenter. Oh, I should mention last names of some of the characters. I believe are nods or homages to horror filmmakers. Like Kimberly Corman is a nod to Roger Corman. Tim and Nora Carpenter are a nod to John Carpenter. So, yeah.
There's another movie that did that too, and it's not a very well known movie. Came out, in fact, in the late 80s, 1989, and they I don't know if you ever they did the same, like they paid homage to the last names of like well known directors. Did you ever see? Here's a quick question. Did you ever seen a movie that was called The Dead Next Door? Did you ever hear of it?
I don't think so.
Well, in the movie, they use like last names, like I think they use 4 different ones. They use like there's one character, I don't think you really see him, but you do hear him. Someone by the name of Savini. I think you get the idea. Then there's Carpenter and King.
Yep. Oh yes, Braxton. That's true. Like he'll go after anybody of all conditions, all ages. Doesn't matter. I mean,
there's also the last names of Carpenter and King. You get the ideas of who those are.
Mm-hmm. John Carpenter and King. Yes.
George
Romero,
and finally, Raimi.
Sam Raimi.
And what's actually interesting, even though I'm not sure why they did this, I mean, it was definitely it's a low budget zombie film, but for whatever reason, even though he doesn't make an appearance, when you hear his voice, Bruce Campbell dubs one of the characters. So I'm not sure why they dubbed him, because it was an English film, but I guess whether they were trying to get like a well-known horror actor or whatever. I'm not sure, or he just sounded better. He voices one of the actors in the movie, so you hear his voice throughout the entire film. So he has some involvement with it. So, but that movie too did the same thing. It had last names of famous horror filmmakers.
Oh, I see. Yeah, there are movies that sometimes do that. Use names from. Yeah, but let's see. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I like how like speaking of the characters in this, how like Kimberly's friends were just like talking about their pot that they brought with them. I like how when Burke approaches her after she has the premonition, like everybody has the attitude of oh my god, cops here, everybody hide your drugs, because like Kimberly's friend I think it was Dano. Yeah, Dano. He was freaking out about the marijuana.
Mhm.
And also, right when Brooke was walking past the car, because Rory, the drug addict, he sees him, and then he hides. I'm guessing like a coke stash or something in his pocket. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh god, it's the cops. Hide your drugs.
Real quick, just want to respond to the comments on my personal page because Irina's been watching. Geez, they've been. Seems like seems like we're all talking, considering that we've all talked about near death experiences. Irene had just said, and obviously I'm not surprised with what she says. She says, been through 2 big earthquakes and not one tsunami yet, but had a blast swimming in the ocean after a hurricane. Man, that was a blast
Oh,
from the storm surge. And then she also said, this was in response when I was talking about the dust storm. I didn't know that Japan gets them, but she says they do get dust storms over there when the pollution blows dust over Japan and the sky is orange. The pictures you sent me, Nikki. It's saying that
Yeah.
in comparisons to like the surface of Mars, where the sky becomes kind of orangish red or eventually dust back in 2009. And
Yeah.
it's crazy to think, but yeah, it seems like when we're talking about these movies, we're always going to get stories of people who believe that who cheated death from real life experiences.
yeah. Oh, here. Yeah, we did mention this before, Braxton, that Tony Todd, even though he did not play Bloodworth in Final Destination 3, he actually did voice that devil at the carnival.
Yep. So he had some involvement one way or another.
Yeah, in all the movies except for the fourth one. Yeah, but I'm hearing voices from somebody's mic.
It's not for me because I'm in the basement,
Um,
obviously.
I'll turn mine off.
Okay, I gotcha. Oh, and one thing that I kind of did I felt irked by when I first saw Final.
No, continue on.
Where's
Keep
Nick
going.
going?
No, keep going. I'm just
Oh,
plugging in the laptop. Go ahead.
you're seriously plugging your laptop now? I plugged mine in when I first started this.
You can keep going.
My laptop, my battery's been acting kind of funny recently. So yeah,
And keep your laptop plugged in. Yeah.
Don't
See,
worry about it.
I plugged my laptop in at the start of the show, so I wouldn't have to worry about plugging it in later.
I also
Anyway.
haven't really used my laptop throughout today. So and it's been unplugged all day today. So this is the first time using it.
That's
this
the reason.
evening.
Okay,
Well,
anyway.
I was
All
at
right.
work.
All right. But
We're good.
so Devon Sawa, who hey Sarah,
Hey, Sarah, definitely long time no see. How are you?
hey, thanks for
How
tuning
you
in.
doing, sweet?
Been several months since we heard from you. Oh yes, well, Chris, yeah, you guys heard about George Wendt? He passed
Yes.
away.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he passed away earlier today, and
Yeah.
wasn't even that old. He was only 76, and he was originally from Chicago. And get
It
this,
was.
my mom, she told me this right before, like literally right half hour before I came on. She used to go to grammar school with him.
Did he? Did she?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because he grew up in the Chicago area. She went to the same grammar school, and she knew his sister really well.
Oh,
Oh,
So
crazy.
we can kind of have a little bit of a family connection with the Wendt family. But
mhm.
yeah, rest in peace for George. And he wasn't even that old when he passed away. He was
Yes.
only 76,
Yeah,
and apparently he passed away, believe it or not, on the 32nd anniversary of the season finale of Cheers.
oh,
Yeah.
man.
That
Oh,
show
that's
ended
good.
a few months. It ended in November of it technically ended in November of 1993, but the show basically the show pretty much for the most part that ended a few months after I was born. So there is kind of a connection between us and that show in some way. Yeah, in honor of that, Chris, that's right. But yeah,
Yeah. So
So 80s.
my family knew him.
yeah. So I wanted to talk about the one thing that that I felt pretty disappointed by. That Devon Sawa, who played Alex in the first movie, he was unable to reprise his role due to scheduling conflicts, so they had just killed him off.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So in like in a pretty like kind of lazy way. Like they killed him off in between films. Apparently, he was killed off by a brick that fell on him. Yeah,
Gee.
and Clear was there to witness it. And I'm just thinking, how did he just killed off by a brick after everything that he went through in the first movie? I would have thought he'd been more careful. Like apparently he hadn't let Alex hadn't left his house for like 3 months before that. So I'm thinking, what, he just stepped outside for 1 minute and then a brick falls on his head.
Right, right.
So if only he had the indestructible ability that Marv had, taking 4 bricks to the head in Home Alone 2. Yeah, he
Yeah,
would
it
have
is
been.
really, it is really sad. Sitting ducks. Yeah, rest in peace, George. Everyone's talking about
All
him.
right.
Wait, is this Final Destination movie your favorite? Actually, no. I mean, it is considered a favorite for many fans of
Yeah.
the franchise, but I always love the first one. I do love the third one as well. Like some people have mixed opinions about it. I thought it was all right, but the new one, Final Destination Bloodlines, that I love.
Irene said, "Die by a brick." How sad. Couldn't they think of something better than that?
Yeah, exactly. Like I heard that. Yeah, I actually did do some research on Kimberly and Burke. Like apparently they were supposed to. There was a deleted ending in like something like a deleted scene, like a deleted reference in the third movie where apparently there was like a newsletter clipping of that says they get killed off by a wood chipper, and I'm like, why would they be anywhere near a wood chipper?
Yeah, yeah. A wood chipper sounds
I don't get that.
perfectly safe.
I mean, I can tell you say right now, I have nothing to do. I've never seen a wood chipper around here, and even if I did, I would want nothing to do with it.
I'm gonna be honest.
A what?
I still remember this.
Wood
Like
chipper.
I still remember this over 15 years later, back when I was in high school, and there was. I used to be in Woods class. Ironically enough, I used to be in Woods class, and we had it. Like any class, you had to take a test, obviously, and there was a question, obviously, like a true or false question about that you should keep your hands away from like the wood chipper and some of the other dangerous machines. Is that true or false? And I still remember the teacher saying, like, talking out loud about that, saying, so I'm sure you guys would probably know the answer. Is that a bad thing or a good thing? And I hear one kid's like say, oh, that's definitely a good thing. Like, what? Yeah, putting yourself in a wood chipper, is that a bad
I forgot to mention one other.
good thing?
Yeah. I forgot to mention one other cast member, T.C. Carson, who played Eugene Dix, who drove that motorcycle in the start of the film, and then was like denying that death was after them, saying, "Oh, this whole death is coming after us. This premonition is all nonsense." But then when he sees Nora getting decapitated by that elevator, he becomes a believer and tries to shoot himself, but every single time he tries firing the gun, it was just blanks, like duds,
Oh,
because
okay.
because it wasn't his turn to be killed by death. I should mention T.C. Carson.
Yeah.
2 years after Final Destination 3, he would begin probably his most iconic role, being the original voice of game series God of War. Yeah, T.C. Carson, Kratos.
Yeah. I like what Sarah said, the Acme way out. Yeah, that's what I said before. There's times like when it comes to Final Destination, it's kind of like a Looney Tunes movie, but very violent in a way. Used to help. Oh, Chris said used to help my grandpa with a wood chipper.
I wonder what.
Yeah, those things can be kind of scary.
Yeah.
Here, I wanted to show you guys I wanted to show you guys an example here of like what I'm talking about. Okay, for those of you, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with God of War, but this is just to give you an idea. Hang on.
Irene said wood chop. I like what Irene said, wood chopper.
Okay.
I thought you said a woodpecker. I was like, what?
wood chipper.
Yeah,
Good.
Eileen also says, like, as far as death is concerned, she said, like, a swat by a bear or a polar bear would make it more believable.
All right. Anyway, moving on. So, like I was saying, T.C. Carson plays Kratos in the first three God of War games and the spin-offs. He doesn't play him in the new God of War games, God of War and God of War Ragnarok. But oh, hey, Leon, how's it going? Thanks for tuning
Oh,
in.
what's up, Leon?
And he wasn't a skeptic; he was just a straight-up denier.
Denier, yeah.
Yeah, but here's who he got to play just 2 years after this. Here, hang on. It just
Olympus! A true warrior does not hide, Poseidon! Leave the sea and face me! You have disrespected the gods for the last time, Kratos.
Yeah. Interesting.
yeah, he would go on to play Kratos. Seriously, like he definitely had the voice for it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he definitely did. Like Sarah said, skip the wood chipper, go straight for the bonfire. Oh, great! No, there's going to be this talk about the wood chipper now. what have we
Yeah,
done?
what have we started here?
Yeah, it's obvious, everyone. And you know, I'm going to say for Sarah, because she also watches Tom's lives too sometimes, is that Tom did go on a live earlier this evening. And for the first time, it wasn't on his, it was not on his computer. He had a bonfire. And who knows? Maybe some of the wood came from a wood chipper. He at one point, I'm not going to lie, threw out this whole grocery bag into the bonfire. And I was literally like, Tom, I was like, Tom, did you just throw out a whole bag of groceries into the fire?
Chris.
Hey, Chris, there you made it.
Yay, it finally worked.
Yeah.
That's on my side, guys. Sorry, I meant to join on time. But
He messaged me
Yeah, you
before,
were.
Don, but I thought I'd surprise you. He'd surprise you.
Oh, good.
It's good to have you, Chris.
I had to charge my laptop up.
Oh, okay. Oh, that makes two of us.
Why did somebody charge their laptop today?
I'm kidding. I'm on a desktop. I just saw Nick earlier having to do his.
Yeah, I did the same.
Like the way they did. Oh, like the way they did Poseidon in God of War 3. Yes, I did a live stream series out of that over a year ago. But yeah, we were just talking to Chris about how T.C. Carson, who was in Final Destination 2, he would go on to play Kratos in the God of War games.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I love God of War. Yeah, it's such a great franchise. Oh yeah.
Sarah said the reason why she hasn't watched any live, she got kicked off from baseball. That's always sucked. But yeah, hey, just saw your
Really?
most recent. Yeah, Sarah, we missed you too. We missed you too. We were wondering where you went, but it's good to see you back.
Yeah, and I like how T.C. Carson's kid, like how he just defended right before Nora was killed, defended her from a creep who was just like smelling her hair.
That was creepy.
Remember that bit?
Yeah, I thought that was
It
weird.
was. But the scary thing about that though, that actually does remind me of something that I actually experienced when I was. This was back when I was 21. I was on vacation with my girlfriend and her family, my college girlfriend and her family, in San Diego. Yeah, San Diego. And so I was in an elevator with let's see, there was looked like a hotel employee right next to me, and then there were two girls in front of me. Like they look like they were probably, I want to say, junior high, early high school years. So yeah, they were definitely underage girls, And of course they're in bikinis because it's a hotel on the ocean, So there's going to be a lot of
That's like that with everybody.
Yeah.
yeah, that's like that with everybody. That's California for you. But then
California.
so we were getting close to the bottom floor, and I looked so I was just like looking around. Okay, but then I noticed the hotel employee standing next to me. He was like smiling and looking down, and then I looked down. Then I looked in the direction of where he was looking. Yeah, he was looking at those girls' backsides, and I'm like, "What the hell? These are underage girls."
Yeah,
and so
really.
what I did was I just tapped his shoulder, and then he looked at me, and I'm just looking at him, and and then I just under my breath I was like, "Really?"
I thought you were. I was under the impression you were going to just be like
No, I just shoulder tap him, and I was just like under my breath so the girls wouldn't hear.
And they looked underage, right?
Are we?
No, go on. Keep going.
Okay, I was just wondering. I think I was like, you guys were kind of cutting me off for a second. It could be interference.
No, it was the interference. Yeah, go on, keep going.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, instead of like getting like all in his face about it, I just like shoulder tapped him. He looked at me, and I was just like, "Really?" Like under my breath, so the girls wouldn't hear me. And then what he did was he just looked embarrassed and looked up. You know.
It you may have knocked some sense into him because he probably didn't think at first that they were underage, but once you
I,
did, he probably thought,
I think
oh
I think
damn.
he knew though. But regardless, I did something. But hey, regardless, I stood up for those girls.
Yeah, he did.
Good for
He
you.
did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just like I just walked out of that elevator just thinking, "Goddamn creepo."
You know, I'm just gonna say this real quick. We have an employee like that right now at our
Mhm.
store. I mean, he's been with us several times, and he's long story short, as you know, this is the grocery store, Don. The youngest person that can work at our store is 16 years old,
Mm.
and we're talking about a guy in his 50s. Now, I understand that this is a guy who is disabled because I heard he actually has like a metal plate in his head. What
Oh,
exactly happened to him, I have no clue. So I understand that, he's not fully in his head, but he's always constantly hitting on or trying to ask out a lot of our female employees, and we're not talking just younger ones too. We're talking about those who probably have boyfriends of their own, who are married, whatever. But the times that I've seen him do that, because considering that we're almost into the summertime, in which we are going to have some kids working with us, he's probably going to do the same. He's always that kind of person that I raise an eyebrow every time when he's because there's not much I can do, but I do stop and think to myself, I'm like, wait a second, how old is that girl?
yeah,
That's something I'm always suspicious about.
yeah. Nothing disgusts me more in this world than guys who are just
Yeah.
going after like the kids. You know. Ugh.
Well, as you know, we had to get rid of someone
Anyway,
that just
anyway.
recently.
So yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, it just came out Friday.
yeah. I saw it the night before the actual. We saw one of the late evening previews before I went to Ohio on Thursday, and it was good. It was really good.
Yeah, it is pretty creepy, Billy. But yeah, so let's see. There was one aspect that they introduced in this that I thought was I thought was pretty crazy. Like apparently, like all the survivors in the pileup had like some sort of connection to the survivors from the Flight 180 in the first movie.
Yeah.
Each one of the survivors had a prior near death experience that had something to do with one of the survivors from the Flight 180. Like saying, "Oh, she was on a bus that was in this area," and turns out it was the bus that killed Terry in the first movie.
Right.
And
Right, that makes more sense now. Yeah,
One of them,
yeah,
and I don't
and
remember what
Kimberly
it
was.
is. I think it was the girl driving the SUV at the beginning, and
Yeah.
one of her little flashbacks or visions or whatever you want to call it. It says Highway 180 or something 180, and it just struck me right in the head. Right there, I was like, the first, because I just watched the first one like last week sometime. So it just
Yep.
hit me in the head. It was like, so yeah. And then they explained it later on, all the connections, and I was like, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
I
always
got a lot of that. I had to rewatch it. So.
Yep, full
Yeah,
circle.
yeah.
That's great, Sarah. Full circle. So
Full circle.
Death was like working its way backwards in the new survivors to like tie at the loose ends.
Yeah.
So Death was creating a very unique design in this. Yeah,
Yep.
because he was like putting them all in reverse order as opposed to the original film.
Yep.
And I like that take that he took, where he went throughout this reverse order, then like how it's obvious Death likes to target his victims in different ways.
But let's
Probably
be honest,
for
if
his
the
own-
plane
probably
is
for his own-
exploding, there's no order. I mean,
Yeah, probably I would assume most likely that he does that probably more or less for his own enjoyment.
Probably. Yeah,
Yeah.
Death just likes toying with others.
Yeah,
Did the new final actually in the series, or is it still open ended? I would like to think it's still open ended. I would think they could do more with it.
I just went onto the Wikipedia page about it, and they said as far as the future, because they had a future segment, and they said uh, give me a second here while I'm getting to it. Not much is said, but okay, yeah, okay, here it is. Stein noted that the narrative potential remains open ended, emphasizing the complex and time consuming nature of developing such films. While he acknowledged the possibility of future installments, he indicated that the creative process requires significant effort and innovation. Perry similarly expressed openness to continuing the franchise, noting that Bloodlines has expanded the creative flexibility of the series,
That it did.
allowing new narrative directions and connections across different periods.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? I mean, I could actually see, and I actually. Oh wait, real quick, just before I tell you, because Nikki, I just received your message. She's gonna have to. Nikki's gonna have to get going. She's got a few things she's got to do. Nikki, it's always awesome having you on, and hopefully we'll see you again next week.
Hopefully.
Will do. Have a great day,
When
everyone.
you want to get
Thanks, Dave.
started with Paranormal Perth
Me
again.
too.
So,
I'll message you later, Nick.
all right, that's
Take
fine.
care,
I'll
guys.
talk to you later then. Have a good one.
Take care, Nikki.
You too. Bye.
See ya.
But anyways, what I was going to say was, another thing that they could do. I mean, this is just an idea of trying if they really want to expand it. I mean, obviously, as we all know, now that Tony Todd has passed away, if they do make any more Final Destination movies, there is no way that we can make any. He's going to be able to obviously make any more appearances. But that opening scene, which took place back in 1968.
Mm-hmm.
In my personal opinion, I think if they started making more like prequels to the franchise, like if it was set during earlier time periods, like they did during that period of 1968, like let's say, this is just an example I'm throwing out. Let's say if there was another incident like that occurred 100 years prior to any of the events, like let's say if it happened during the late 19th, early 20th century. I know they could use AI to bring it back.
That would be kind of controversial, though.
It would be that's the problem. It would be kind of controversial, but if they had like more historical period films that took place 100, 200 years or whatever, that could create a timeline of expansion to continue in the Final Destination films. It just probably wouldn't be set in the modern era like it had been previously, like to just really build a whole historical timeline to show that death has been doing like even 1,000 years or something like that. Just goes to show like death has been doing this for hundreds of years, centuries. Oh, sorry, Nikki tried calling me. I think that was accidental, but you get the idea though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
and cool,
one crazy death. Like I don't know, it's hard for me to determine a favorite because a lot of them were just insane. Like one of the memorable one was Billy Hitchcock's death in the first one when he had his head half decapitated.
Oh
yeah, by a piece of metal flinging off of a passing train. And of course they just had to do that to Stifler from American Pie.
That's the same thing with me. That's kind of the same thing too with me. I mean, I don't know if I really have a favorite as far as deaths are concerned. I mean, yeah, there's some really silly, kind of cheesy ones, but for the most part, I know a lot of them are really good. So I honestly think a lot of the deaths are they're just all great. Yeah, I mean, like I said, some cheap ones, but I think they're all great. I just don't really have a favorite.
Oh yeah, I mean, they get more gruesome as the series goes on. I mean, Final Destination 2 is definitely more gruesome than the first one. Final Destination 3 is even more so. I mean, especially the tanning bed scene. Oh my god.
Yeah. I gotta say, living like where I drive in the mountains a lot, that logging truck thing. Mm-hmm. I get on logging trucks all the time, and I'm always like, it just hits me like just for like 2 seconds. I'm just like, oh crap, every time.
Yeah, and Chris. Oh man, yeah, and Chris, I've told Nick about this. I'm not sure if I told you this, but that one scene with the tanning beds that killed Ashley and Ashlyn, I always refer to that scene as burning to ashes because there are two girls, Ashley, Ashlyn, burning to ashes.
Ashes to ashes.
Ashes to ashes.
And you know, and you see that is a reason
Seriously, that was
why.
that. I'm like that should be like seriously. If anybody considers tanning, and if you want somebody to prevent somebody from tanning, just show them that scene.
Other than that,
Well,
yeah.
there was been another movie that did that just a few years prior to that. I think it was the sequel. I Still Know What She Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
The killer tried killing her with the tanning bed too.
That's right.
And one more. This is kind of more of a comedian. Well, not a tanning bed, but actually, no, he was using a tanning bed. Believe it or not, Don. There was an episode of Seinfeld in which Kramer he used a tanning bed, and he was like burned. Okay, I'm just gonna say this not to sound weird, but he in the episode he's dating an African American girl, and the girl wanted him to meet her family. And at the end of the episode, because he used the tanning bed for too long, he was like all charred up. And they're like, "I thought you said you were bringing a white man over. I see a damn fool." He's like all charred up, just smiling. But hey, that's what happens when you use a tanning bed.
Yeah, and cancer.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Oh, and Sarah, are you referring to what I said about the whole burning to ashes comment? Wait, I'm referring to Sarah's comment here. She was. What were you saying was clever? Like what I was saying about burning to ashes. Okay. I know she was responding to my comment or your comment, Nick.
Hey, Heather, I haven't seen you here in a while. Heather Morton from Iowa. Good to see you.
How's it going?
It's been a long time.
So I got a question. Do they ever explain who and why gets visions, or is it just randomly?
Yeah, sometimes they just randomly
out at the beginning of each movie, or I can't remember. My memory's like gone if I haven't seen.
Wait, what are you saying, Chris?
Do they ever explain who or why people get the visions at the beginning of the movies?
Oh, you kind of cut off for a second.
Like he's asking why it's ever explained why some of these people get these visions.
Not really. It just happens like right before a disaster.
Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. I just didn't know if they.
Yeah, we missed you too, Heather.
I don't know what sort of.
Sorry, go ahead, Don. Go on, Don.
I got a refill.
All right. Well, while you're getting the refill, I'm going to say, yeah, it's we missed you too, Heather. Jeez, the show's been kind of interesting. We've had a lot of viewers. We haven't watched any of our shows in quite a long time, and they're finally making a comeback. So, Sarah, Heather,
that's Nikki, right?
That's Nikki right there, Paranormal Perth, Western Australia.
But yeah, Australia, what's up, Western Australia?
Yeah. But Heather, Sarah, it's really good to have you guys back. We missed you.
WA in the house, Western Australia.
And
of course, down that way.
And of course, we got to bring up Tony Todd's scene in this.
Yes,
late great Tony Todd.
Oh yeah. So right after Clear gets out of the apparently Clear had spent since the events of the first film, like ever since the death of Alex, Clear had committed herself to a mental facility, like voluntarily, to keep herself safe from death. And I'm like, wait, is that even a thing? Like people voluntarily committing themselves?
You can actually, but
if you think I mean, it's quite obvious. I mean, if you really truly believe that you are a threat to others or to yourself, you can't voluntarily commit yourself.
Oh,
yeah.
I gotcha.
I actually saw a clip of, in fact, one show that kind of demonstrated that. In fact, it was from the Chicago Med series, where a guy believed that he was going to murder his wife because, like, he just. Oh, yeah, that's Nikki right there. Yeah. There was a guy who believed that he was ready. He felt like he really wanted to murder his wife, so he wanted to commit himself to keep himself from harming her.
Oh, I gotcha.
So you can yourself.
Anyway, what I was trying to say is that after Claire leaves that hospital and wants to help the group, and they decide to they take her advice, and she goes with them. She takes them over to see Bloodworth, played by Tony Todd, who is tending to Evan's body, and also ripping off Evan's nipple ring. That was disturbing. Yeah, but he figured, oh well, I mean, he's going to be incinerated anyway. You know, he wanted to be cremated.
Which
Yeah.
they did that again too in
Yeah,
Bloodlines. Let's
Evan's
not
body.
forget.
Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, then of course, Bloodworth is about as cryptic, and of course, Bloodworth is just as cryptic as he's always been in this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like suggesting that a new life has to be created in order to upset,
Death.
throw off Death's design. You know, for
Yep.
everybody to be saved, which leads them to believe that that van driver, the pregnant van driver, Isabella Hudson, who the one person I believe was like one of the biggest victims of this whole movie. You know, it's like she doesn't know why she's being like held like in for you know a false pretense, because apparently Burke called an APP for on that van that was on the highway, and
Yeah.
because they believe that once she gives birth to her baby, they're all going to be safe. You know, a new life added that wasn't part of the equation and would throw like upset Death, but she was like put in jail and was pregnant, about to give birth, and it's like, yeah, when this is all over, yeah, that's department better prepare for some serious litigation.
Yeah, that's what I was
Seriously.
gonna say. That's major time litigation right there.
Real
Oh,
quick,
yeah.
just want to respond to Heather's comments. The reason why she hasn't been around, just emotionally drained. Her daughter had to have an ambulance from fainting at soapbox derby, then had to be restrained. Oh wait, hang on a sec. The comments are disappearing. Give me a second here so I could scroll up. Oh, geez, you got it. Oh man, I can't get to.
Soapbox derby. Then
Oh wait, here it is. Okay, it had to be. Yeah, it had to be restrained. It was wild, just a lot. Once, time to breathe again. And now she also said she's had her own Final Destination moment. I got rear-ended at a full stop by a semi truck. My own truck flew 100 feet.
Oh my god!
Times. Had vivid dreams now. And you know, I was just talking about that earlier. Heather, that I've had my own accident.
We were talking about earlier about Nick's
I was almost hit
brought near brush with death.
Yeah, I was almost hit by a semi truck myself in Ohio almost 3 years ago. And get this. Oh, look at this. The semi truck driver ended up dying a year later. I think he took his life.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Oh jeez.
Okay, wow, wow.
Wow, that is Final Destination stuff right there.
Well, and see, this is what I was talking about. It seems like anytime we talk about Final Destination, everybody wants to share their near-death experience with us.
I mean, I had a Final Destination moment myself 2 months ago when I was almost crushed by a falling street lamp.
Yeah,
I was standing probably not even 2 feet. I was standing not even 2 feet from it, and the whole base of it was completely rusted. You know, I'm guessing the city was like falling behind on like maintaining that stuff.
Holy crap!
Another thing I can recall that not necessarily a Final Destination moment, but it's still what it killed me was over a decade ago. My dad,
It's true.
Yeah, my dad. I used to help my dad out, believe it or not, with the pool done. You know, like how we clean it up before we open it up for the summer for you guys. And my dad wanted me to go down into the pool at one point to, you know, just grab a hose and just wash all the leaves and stuff like that. And I walked down. I had shoes on, but you remember like how in the shallow. Oh, that's it right there, isn't it?
Holy crap!
Jeez.
It is. That almost hit me.
That almost fell on you?
Yeah, it almost fell on me as I was walking on the sidewalk.
Holy
This would have killed me.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, look at the base of it; it's all rusted.
Yeah, that's definitely several years old. But yeah, when I was trying,
you remember like Chicago, maintain street lamps.
You remember how in the shallow part of the pool, Don, it's like really slippery there?
Yeah.
So I had to walk in there, obviously, when the pool was empty, and the surface was wet. And I'm not lying to you guys that as soon as I was able to get through the step, I was able to get down the steps successfully. But I kid you not, as soon as I put my foot down the actual floor of the pool, I mean, next thing you know, I had no idea what happened, but it's like the whole world went upside down. I slipped, I fell, and I nearly hit my head, the back part of my head on one of the concrete steps. And one of two things would have happened to me immediately. One, it could have killed me immediately because it would have gone right into my skull and into my brain. Scared the hell out, and then or if I did survive, most likely it would, if it had been 1 more centimeter down, it would have also it would have hit my brain stem, and most likely I probably would have ended up becoming paralyzed from the waist down. So scared the hell out of me, scared the hell out of my dad, obviously more than I did. And to this day, I have never entered the pool while it's empty because I am not. Understandably, I refuse to go in there anymore.
No way.
That almost killed me too.
My God.
And at that time too, I was only like, at that time I was younger. At that time I was only like 19, 20 years old when that happened. So it still scares me to this day that I almost died at the age of 19 or 20.
Man.
Jesus. Man.
Yeah. Sarah's like, you boys are not allowed to go outside anymore.
I just put that message up for you. You're just now noticing it?
Well, because I was finishing up, then it just showed up a minute ago. So,
yeah,
your death experience.
So,
understand, Heather.
Yeah, so there were a lot of gruesome deaths in this film. Like, let's see, there was like when they crashed the van, and like, let's see, what was her name? That woman who was stuck in there, Katz. That businesswoman who was like constantly smoking throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, smoking the illegal, not illegal stuff.
yeah, she was constantly like stress smoking throughout the whole movie. But anyway, so she's trapped. She's trapped in the driver's seat of the van with by this wooden pole, and like when they try to get her out, like
the PVC pipe and
it's like when they crash the car, like this pipe that goes right through the head of the seat. Like she just missed her, so you think that would have killed her, right? It's like, oh man, she would like miss and just dodge a bullet. But then when they try to use the jaws of life to get her out, it set off the airbag and pushed her head right in there and impaled her.
That was crazy. Those whole scenes were like nuts.
Yeah, and then of course there was an explosion that caused some barbed wire to fly and cut through Rory. The drug addict Rory. Yeah, like, and that just cut him apart, and I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes, like
I kind of smirked at that. I was just like,
yes, indeed, Nikki. Life is a gift, definitely. And Heather said then glitch and matrix shit comes out and makes you question everything. Yeah. And Tom McNicholas is watching. The older you get, the more accident prone you become. Yep. It's
very true.
Absolutely. I've had my fair share of them lately.
Well, and of course, as you guys know,
airbags are more dangerous than you think.
Airbags are more dangerous than you think. Yeah, that's what I've heard, is that they actually hurt people now more often than they did like in the last 30 years or so.
I ate one last June. I had my accident that jacked me up and totaled my car, and only going 65 or 70 and hit a car. That's all. But
I'm just going to throw this out because, again, it's been so long since Heather and Sarah have been watching. I think I should probably all this talk too about near-death experiences. I don't know if you guys ever got a word, but my most recent near-death experience obviously was just a few months ago. I was in the hospital for about a week back in November. Don and Kate were nice enough to visit me, and I actually ended up having 2 brain bleeds, which you can pretty much say it's under the same category as a stroke. And I got to tell you, even though I survived, the pain was more than words could say. It was awful. And I was almost ready. After a few days, it just becomes so agonizing. You couldn't stand the pain anymore. And to be fully honest, I was almost just ready to give up. I was just literally laying there waiting for the white light or whatever was supposed to happen to you, because it was just unbearable. But thankfully, the pain started to subside, and I was able to heal up. But I've survived since. But and I should have gotten surgery, from that. It was awful. Yeah, okay, yeah, Sarah remembers, but yeah, okay, Heather didn't. Yeah, it was awful, and it really could have killed me, or could have disabled me even further. To this day, we still don't know exactly what caused these 2 brain bleeds. The doctors are still baffled about it too. We have our suspicions of what could have caused it, but we just don't have the evidence to prove it. I don't think we'll ever know, but they did say, thankfully, that the chances of something like this happening to me again are extremely slim, but it baffles them, especially at my age now, because they understood if it was an older person. But for me, at that time at only 31, now 32 years old, it doesn't make sense to them. So I'm very fortunate to be around. But that's my most recent near death experience.
Same. Well, different, but same for me.
Your
I was born in
situation,
February. So
vascular, yes, sir. We really just don't know. We really have no clue. I don't think we're ever going to know. We tried everything we could think of. They've ran all the tests, x-rays, and they don't have a clue. So you can kind of say, once again, this was probably definitely the closest I've ever gotten to truly
cheated it. You better
truly
watch out. You cheated it.
Yeah,
I cheated
I'm
death.
hoping so too. I've had enough near death experiences for one lifetime.
Well,
between us, we've all had enough.
Not sure if you smoke. It can help you with that. Oh yeah, me no. I think I've made the right choices. Never done drugs. Never smoked. I quit heavy drinking when I was still in my early 20s, and unlike some other people, I didn't get into it very often, if you know what I mean, because spread of diseases. Never made any of those choices. I've always done. I'm still working on losing weight, but other than that, I've lived a rather healthy lifestyle. But when it came to these brain bleeds, though, we just don't really know exactly what it was. But like I said, it was my way of. It was definitely me cheating death, no less. Probably an after effect of my cool. And Heather, and Heather, like smoking, like I don't do that stuff, and I don't care if it is legal here in Illinois, and I don't care if there is a store just down the street from me. I've never tried that stuff, and I'm not doing it now. I just have no need for it.
Irene had said from the personal chat, she said, "It's a warning to be careful and learn from it. Be grateful," and she just also wrote, "Be grateful for what you have, be grateful for what you have, not what you want."
Yes.
And that's kind of like what Final Destination really kind of gives that kind of message to, is, yes, it's based off of
Tony Todd's.
Yes. It's based off of, obviously close to near death experiences and real life accidents, but it also is to truly send the message that no matter how good or bad things are in your life is truly precious, and you should value it every single day, because there's always that chance.
Yes, because
they may not be here by tomorrow or even 5 minutes from now.
Yes. I'm sorry. Part of you, I'm getting interference, like where it seems like you're going silent, Nick. So
that's happened to me too. For some reason, Chris, you're good. I haven't had any issues from your side, but it's happening with you, Don, on your side. So you must be having the same issue then.
It just happened again. It just happened.
It just happened too. It just happened too on your side.
Yeah, I'm not trying to talk over you, Nick. It's just that there's
no. I know you're not
cut off. It's like you just cut off, and I'm just like, or like you go silent. So I'd assume, oh, okay, do you finish talking? Like, did I?
No. I've seen it's been happening.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's been happening on your side too. So it's
it just happened again.
I think what's happening, because Sarah says, you guys are okay on my side. I think from the viewer's point, it sounds fine on their side, but because we're actually in the studio talking, I think that's what.
Yeah, I don't know what. Well, let's just do what we can.
Yeah. So
from here.
Excuse me. Yeah. Anybody who's watching, we're not trying to intentionally cut each other off or anything like that. There's kind of a lag that's going on in the studio.
Yeah. Hopefully next one we won't have this issue. But
I want to bring up, so I don't know why it's causing that.
Yeah, but I wanted to bring up Tony Todd, the final line that he said in the new in Final Destination Bloodlines. He improvised this line because they like the studio decided, like the people on set that told him, say something you want your fans to hear.
Yes.
So here's what he said. I intend to enjoy the time I have left, and I suggest you do the same. Life is precious. Enjoy every second. You never know when. Good luck.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
That was just
Yeah.
such a perfectly well said line that he
It
made,
was
and not just for if this was going to be his last movie ever. Just
This was his last movie.
yeah. I mean, it ended up becoming his last. And here's the thing:
get that. Yeah,
that's the other thing too. The crew and producers really didn't think that this was going to be Tony Todd's last movie. They really didn't think so at the time, even though he obviously was not looking so good. But that was just such a. It was almost like, in a way, it was almost like he was truly predicting like his own death, his real life death that was coming.
Yeah, I had a feeling Tony Todd somehow knew. I feel like he somehow knew that he wasn't going to live much, and like, because the thing is, yeah, he looked like you said, Nick, he would look like he was in terrible shape, and given that he was suffering from stomach cancer, I'm thinking he was going through chemo, because that's one of the effects of chemo is losing weight and like hair loss.
And he lost. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm glad he made that appearance, but he lost a lot of weight. I mean, a lot of it. He looked very, very emaciated. Kind of, I hate to say it, almost skeleton-like.
Yeah.
I mean, I recognized his voice, but when you see him for the first time, I almost didn't recognize him, because he was not the Tony Todd that I remember seeing like in all these previous movies, because he just lost so much weight. He was almost skeleton-like. Yeah, like that. He was not the Tony Todd we remember seeing, and he was a lot more healthier.
Yes, I'll never forget that day when I met him. He was such an amazing guy.
I was with you met him.
I was with you there too, so I'll never forget that we both met him that day, and he was such a nice guy. He was very tall and kind of intimidating, but he was a gentle giant. He really was a gentle giant.
He was. No, I also like one of the last roles that he did was voicing Venom in Spider-Man 2, the video game.
Yeah. Heather says, life is so precious and our bodies are also too vulnerable, but also so resilient. That's true.
It can be.
There are life advice. And then Sarah also said a lot of Hollywood actors seem to have premonitions before they're done. And that's something I've been noticing very frequently with a lot of these big actors, like whether they're in the horror genre or not, they always have like some type of message that they want to send before they eventually pass away. And that's what I find very unique about a lot of these actors that are, that don't have very much time left in their lives.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Let's see. So, like, there was like this one moment that felt joyful, but also kind of humorous at the same time with Final Destination 2, is where Isabella finally gives birth to her baby, but then like Kimberly and Burke are just like cheering about it because they feeling like they finally cheated death, but then Isabella looked at them and was like, who the hell are they?
Yeah.
like Isabella, this whole time, Isabella had no idea what was going on. Like that death was following them.
Right.
So yeah, out of context, yeah.
Right, Thomas. He was zooming flash.
But it's like, but then that joy is that moment is like cut short because then there's that explosion that kills off Eugene and also Clear. So Death has finally claimed the last survivor of the Flight 180 disaster from the first movie.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And then Ellie Larder goes from Clear to Claire when 4 years later when she starts playing Claire Redfield in the live action Resident Evil movies.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that's what I always think of it as. She just went from Clear to Claire.
Wow, a typo. All that for a typo. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta admit, I'm not the biggest fan of the live action Resident Evil movies, like Paul W.S. Anderson ones. It feels a lot like fan fiction than actually trying to depict the Resident Evil that we know.
Yeah. And
it's like when they try to, it's like they tried a little more effort in Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, but they messed up the characters. But that's another episode for another day. One day we'll get to the Resident Evil movies.
Yeah, although I know they're not as good though. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's like they can't recapture the magic that the games have.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
I watched the first one. And that was it.
Yeah. Like, I feel, and also they're trying to make another one now. They're trying
Oh,
again.
wow.
Oh, they are. Is it supposed to be like a reboot?
Yes. But this time it's like, I really hope they know what they're doing this time. I really do.
I hope so too,
Because
because
they've disappointed me.
Maybe they'll go on.
Yeah, because they've disappointed me way too many times.
If they're trying to make another attempt at making a movie franchise for Resident Evil. I mean, I'm hoping that this time that they'll do better than previous franchises. Like you said, yeah, they're quite disappointed.
Yeah.
They've been quite.
I
I've never
just
seen
stick
any
to
of the
this.
Resident Evil movies.
Yeah,
You have
these are faithful. Now these are canon with the game. These are more faithful. Like,
Okay.
yeah, the CG movies. Yeah, there was a new one that's not featured here that was called Death Island that I believe was on Netflix at one point. I don't know if it's still there now, but it was special because it was the first. What was unique about it is it was the first time in Resident Evil history where Chris, Jill, Claire, Leon, and Rebecca all teamed up together. That was the first time that's ever happened in the Resident Evil universe.
Sarah, to answer your question, not yet. We haven't even seen Megan 2 yet, but we will be seeing it though.
Yes, yeah. Megan 2.0 comes out next month. Can't wait. Yeah, because
I saw the when we went. I don't know if you saw it, Don.
we did cover the first one. Yeah, we covered the first one, the one that you cut off, Nick.
Wait, what was that? Because you got cut off on one side. What were you saying?
I was saying this is the one that we covered. Yeah, we already covered the first movie that you cut off, Nick.
Oh yeah,
You pressed the wrong button.
I remember that.
Yeah, Nick.
I was so mad that you did that.
I was in the car and actually pressed head broadcast.
Yeah, so
I still can't remember.
So that's why we took away your control privileges.
Well, not only that. I mean, we're also on a different studio now. But that was just so damn funny. I wish I could have recorded that whole thing. I wish that could have been recorded itself because I remember like you were freaking out. I was laughing, but I was truly freaking out at the same time. Like, oh my god, what the hell did I just do?
Yep. So that's why Nick. Yep, Nick no longer has control privileges.
Well, I mean, I still do
Bad
for the other
Nick.
shows, just not this one. And also, I'm still learning how to use Evmux. Oh man,
You're not allowed to press. You're not allowed to press any buttons on this thing.
Except if I have to leave the studio.
Whatever.
Well, I was going to say about what I was going to say. I got to ask because you brought up about Megan. When you went to go see Final Destination Bloodline, because unfortunately, I missed on the opportunity because I had to go. Right before the movie started, I had to go use the bathroom. But did they show the trailer for Megan 2.0 when you went to go see it?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I didn't get to see I only got to see part of the trailer, so I didn't get to see.
How have you not seen the trailer? It's been out for over a month now.
I didn't know they were going to show it, so I had to go use the bathroom.
Yeah, you could watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm sure. You know what? Matter of fact, when I get off after this, I'll probably watch it then.
Yeah, I mean, I did my reaction video to that like a month ago.
Well, I mean, the only thing that I've ever seen was when they had that brief Super Bowl commercial of Megan 2.0 earlier this year. That was the only thing I saw. I didn't see the actual trailer otherwise.
I see.
As a matter of fact, if it makes, as Tom would say, now I'll tell you what. I'm even going to get the trailer ready for me to watch right after we get off this.
All right.
I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, so I guess we might as well just talk about the end of this. And I just realized it was using my computer mic this whole time. It wasn't using my actual microphone.
Well, that probably explains then the connection issue. Then
I don't know why it did that, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we can talk about this. I just want to talk about the end of Final Destination 2. So Kimberly gets the idea that that this whole new life comes from like her dying and then being resurrected. So she drives the van into the water and then like drowns herself, and then Burke saves her. And I'm just like, yeah, there's a very slim chance of pulling that off successfully in real life. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then at the end they're invited to a cookout by a family who, after they saved their son's life, but this there was this boy named Brian. His parents are like thankful to her, Kimberly, and Burke, because Rory apparently pulled him away from being hit by the car. But then
News van.
that turns out Death has unfinished business with Brian, and demonstrated that by somehow blowing up that grill, and his charred severed arm lands on the mother's plate, and I'm like, oh my god,
That was a great
that was
ending.
so-
I loved it.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
I laughed
god.
too hard at it. I laughed way too hard at it.
Oh, like that was so gruesome. It gets so like.
It was a great ending.
I don't want to. Yeah. So to this day, I believe that Kimberly and Burke are the only two people who successfully cheated Death in this whole franchise.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, man, and also this movie also has like the youngest, sort of like Death that killed the one person that was I think the youngest survivor of a disaster that Death went after, and that was Tim. I believe that character was supposed to be younger, I want to say maybe little kid age, like 6 or so, but apparently the studio, nobody really liked the idea of them just killing a little kid like that, so they aged him up to 50.
And that was a pretty gruesome death.
Yeah,
That
that was arguably the most memorable death of the whole thing. It was so simple. Like, he chased after pigeons. I'm guessing he was still drugged from the laughing gas because he was in the dentist's office. Yeah. So, but then construction worker accidentally knocked a lever that took down a glass pane.
The way it
Glass
made
plane
him,
came right down on him. I like the dummy that they used that was designed to just fold in half. Spilling all that blood and guts. That was a really good. It's like, as shocking and gruesome as that death is, I really like the practical effects that went into it.
Yeah. That was a good one.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, they did a great job with practical effects.
It's really interesting the way how they it's really interesting the effects that they used for Final Destination. I mean, and you know what I also like, because I know some people question the fact, thinking how on earth does Death really have a lot to do with everything that's going on? Because within the entire franchise, we never see Death. We never see him once. I mean, that was, in fact, from what I heard, their intention not to show Death. We were not going to see him as, like your typical Grim Reaper with a scythe or a skeleton-like look to it. They wanted to keep Death. Their intention was, we were not supposed to see Death. We didn't want to see him. Not because they didn't want us to actually see him particularly. I think they knew if they showed Death personally, that the Final Destination franchise would end up becoming no more than just another slasher franchise, because now we know we now know who the killer is.
Yeah,
so
really.
By not showing Death and just showing it as more of a supernatural force, that's why it separates itself from the other horror franchises. Because yes, there's a lot of deaths involved, but it's not a slasher. It's not a slasher franchise. So that's why it's better to keep Death invisible rather than actually seeing him.
Yeah, it's like it uses and how it uses the Rube Goldberg mechanisms to claim victims.
Yes.
Like one,
it's really
one thing leading to another.
It's really that kind of movie where franchise where you almost have to imagine Death yourself, like what he probably would look like. So it's like it's up. In other words, it's up to the viewer how Death should look. But as far as the actual franchise, there's no actual we never see Death ever, or hear him, or anything whatsoever.
Right. Yeah. Oh wait, aside from Bill and Ted, Sarah says.
Well, no.
I think.
Well, and there is actually this constant belief that Tony Todd's character, that he played throughout the franchise.
I've heard that somewhere.
Yeah, some people believe there were rumors that went around that maybe his character was actually Death himself in human form. But honestly, after what we saw from Bloodlines, I think that kind of rules out that possibility because he said he was going to try to cherish every bit of life that he had left. So I think that kind of debunked that whole rumor that he was death himself. He was just somebody that pretty much knew a lot more about death than anyone else. So I think that's what it all came down to in the end.
Right. I mean, Final Destination Bloodlines does explain that more in a twist that I'm not going to reveal here. So,
and after when you saw his history, I mean, that goes to show that he was originally supposed to die himself.
Don't give it away, Nick.
Yeah.
Don't give it away, Nick.
Yeah, I know.
Nick, I said don't get into it. No spoilers.
The delay.
Hey, Nick, I said no spoilers.
It was after once you said that, I would have stopped, but the stupid delay caused me to. I'm sorry.
It's good, bud. It's good. You didn't give away too much.
Right. Horror series need to be struggling. Yeah, that's true, Sarah. That's the one with Jenna Ortega. Yes.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. Sarah, Tony Todd was Candyman 2. That's correct.
Yeah.
He was Candyman 1 too.
He was in the first 3.
That's right.
And he was also in not a horror movie, but I'll still throw it in anyway. He was also in The Rock, where he was The Rock, as Nicolas Cage said, he was the Rocket Man.
That's right. He was. I turned him into the Rocket Man.
He was also Darkseid in Justice League cartoons. Zoom's voice on the Flash TV show.
He was also on some television series that I watched. It was supposed to be like a nod to 80s horror films, not Stranger Things, a different show. It was kind of more of a throwback to like the camp slasher films, like Friday the 13th.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember what the show was called, but he was on that show too. He's actually, he only appears in the past, but he also appears as a ghost too. But he was also on that show as well.
Mm-hmm. God rest his soul.
Yeah, I just can't remember what the TV show that he was on, but it sadly only ran for 1 season.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Tony Todd.
Yep.
Dead of Summer.
Dead of Summer. That's the one. That's the show. Yeah, I saw that too. He was in that show.
Sarah.
What did Sarah say? Hang on a second. Don's Nick's Cage impression reminds me of him in Red. Hey, what do we?
That's right.
That's another question too that we got. We're gonna have to cover Renfield eventually. And by the way, we got to make sure 100% that Kate is there for that one.
Yes, please be there, Kate.
Yeah.
Please be here more often, Kate. Please.
Well, she I don't know,
next week
she messaged she couldn't come on tonight because I guess she just recently said that family emergency. So hopefully everything's hopefully everything's okay with her.
Oh yeah, I hope so too. I hope so as well. Let's see. So for next week, I ran a poll for what to cover next week. I want to decide, let the audience decide this time around. But we're torn between 2 films, and those 2 films are Ginger Snaps and Cloverfield. I ran a poll for here. You know what? It's better if I show you. Hang on.
Well, it's better if I show you.
Yeah, I was going to say, why not show the poll? I almost said punishment poll.
Okay, that's weird.
It's punishment poll. That's from another horror movie. It was from.
Anyway, so yeah, it's torn to my surprise. Final Destination 3 got the least amount of votes. I would have thought that more people would want us to cover more Final Destination movies with the new one that's out. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess.
So it's a little bit hard to see which one's got the highest percentage.
They're tied.
That's the thing, Nick. They're tied.
Okay.
Yeah, we're tied between Ginger Snaps and Cloverfield. I'm going to give this until tomorrow before I make a final decision. Maybe somebody will vote, maybe one of these Cloverfield or Ginger Snaps will get a higher vote by then.
Okay.
Clover Snaps,
yeah. Good.
Clover Snaps, that's a new name. What I was going to say, what I mean by punishment pole, that was from another old horror movie. That was from one of William Castle's movies from the 60s.
Oh,
That was from the movie
I see.
Mr. Sardonicus, and they had, which that should be one we should cover maybe also in the future too. And they did, that was one of William Castle's gags where he had the punishment pole of whether Mr. Sardonicus should be punished or spared. When he said pole, I thought a punishment pole.
Oh, right. I got you. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Yes. Oh, yes, Sarah. So, yeah, for those of you who haven't voted, yeah, please go vote if you want to us to cover any one of those 4 films. I'm judging from your vote, Sarah. I'm guessing you're going to go for Ginger Snaps. So, yeah, go ahead and vote now. You know, you as of net right now, you have 24 hours to decide.
Yep. Oh, and Tom McNicholas just brought up another. That's right. Tony Todd was also in the movie Hatchet. Hatchet was good.
That's right. That's it.
God, I haven't seen that
Oh,
film.
Sarah's asking if I'm still gaming. Yes, I am. Lately, I've been playing Far Cry 3 and also the Dead Space remake. So, yeah, just yesterday I did the Dead Space remake. Tomorrow I'm going to try to see if I can get to playing Far Cry 3 again. I've been doing some packing. You know, I'm about to go out of town. So,
Well, safe travels.
You're heading up to Michigan?
Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin. That's right. Okay.
The lake.
Yeah,
Funny.
the lake.
One weekend I'm out of town for Ohio this week, and you're up for Wisconsin.
I'm stuck here in Colorado.
Yep, going up to the lake house with my family. I'm going up to the lake house with some family members, going fishing.
Nice. Hopefully the weather treats you good over there.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too. So that'll be it for this edition of the Fear Fans podcast. I had fun covering this one. It's like part of me really wishes we could cover Final Destination 3, but I'm still just as good with covering Ginger Snaps or Cloverfield. So, hey, it's like they say, it's like the main rule of mass media. Got to give the people what they want. And that's what I'm doing.
And also, I just want to answer in case Sarah wants to ask. And also, I don't know if Heather's still watching, but I'll let her know too. It's Heather and Sarah, if you guys are wondering if I'm also still doing Nick Files, I still am, although I'm kind of once again kind of in a jam because I got all these different projects I'm working on. So I'm going to try to get Nick Files back up again real soon. I just did another mini series back in late March and early April. And of course, I'm still doing Supernatural Talk with Adrian and Jeremy and Eileen. Nikki, who was here earlier, we're going to start doing a Paranormal PWH chat again real soon. And I'm also still doing the shows with Lois, which we should be doing 2 shows later this week. And I know Sarah has also watched some of the other shows. I know, Sarah, that you've watched, I don't know if you already know this already. I know you've watched Greg's show a few times. Greg, unfortunately, he no longer does his Ghost Box live show on this network, but he still is doing a show on a few other networks. But he is still involved with us because he still does the Myth or Mystery show on Thursday nights. But, yeah, there's just... Oh, and that brings up one final announcement because, again, I don't know if you got word about this too, Sarah and Heather, but earlier this year, back in January, Lois and I just started our very own paranormal network, which if you want to check us out, it's called the N&W Multiverse Network. N&W obviously stands for both mine and Lois's names. We launched earlier this year, and we got some of these podcasts, do broadcasts on that network too. So, yeah, I know you're not on Facebook, but we do have a YouTube channel, though, if you want to check us out. But it's called the N&W Multiverse Network, if you want to check us out. So I now officially have my own network that I run alongside with Lois. It's definitely an honor. And, hopefully we'll see you tuning into some of the shows we have to offer. It's essentially it's the European counterpart to Things Network, as I would describe. So hopefully we'll see you guys. We'll see you there. So
it's a bigger multiverse than Marvel.
What's that?
It's a bigger multiverse than Marvel.
Yes, it is. So just before we end, I just wanted to update Sarah of what's been going on since we hadn't seen her for a while. So I'm glad I was able to get that information sent to her.
All right. And also, next time I'm out here, I'm hoping before the next show, I'll be able to get myself a new router because I don't know. I've been having some internet issues lately.
Okay.
Yeah. Excuse me.
This one might be on me a little bit too. I was having issues tonight too, so that's why it took me so long.
I think also, you know what? I think I may have realized, Don. I mean, I don't know if it was the router or something. I mean, it's been raining a lot throughout most of today. So it's probably, even though it's unlikely, there is a possibility
I don't know.
the rain might also be affecting the connection too.
Well, I've been having other issues too, so yeah, I'll get this figured out. But
Yeah,
all right, that's gonna be
reach out to you guys if I could find a contact email. Yeah, just let us know next time we're on, whether it's this show or any of the other shows. We're always open to chat with you, Sarah, one way or another. Just keep us informed, and hopefully we'll see you again real soon.
Sounds good. All right, so that's gonna be it for this edition of the FearFans podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. Be sure to tune in next week. Oh, be sure go now to my YouTube's posts page where you'll find the poll for next week's film. Right now, it's a tie between Ginger Snaps and Cloverfield. Go vote now. You have 24 hours from now to decide to vote before I make the final decision. So hope you guys enjoyed
that tie. We need a tie.
Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good night, everybody.
Kick.